Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Emily Finn. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We invite you to join the conversation on Getter, Rumble, and YouTube. It is time now to take the political pulse of America, and the beat today. A new national poll shows Vice President JD Vance leading the pack as the top contender for the 2028 Republican presidential nomination, outpacing some of the party's biggest names. The Center Square Voters' Voice poll found that 38% of Republicans and 41% of independents would back Vance if the primary were held today, putting him more than 12 points ahead of his closest rival, Donald Trump Jr. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Secretary of State Marco Rubio trailed far behind, both polling in single digits. The poll shows Vance performing strongly among other Americans, non-college-educated voters, and women, while Trump Jr. scored higher with younger voters, city residents, and minority groups. To discuss, let's bring back David Brody and Terrance Bates, and we're also joined by the host of America's Voice Live, Steve Gruber. Steve, thank you so much for being with us this morning. You know, if I'm DeSantis, I would be pretty upset about this right now, that JD Vance comes in, has a few rock star months here in this administration as VP, and he's getting a whole lot of recognition.
Look, JD Vance has been high profile. He's been a lot of places. He's been a lot more active as a vice president than most during the term of my life, right? He's just out there. He's in front of people. He's unapologetic, pro-American, America first. And so, yeah, he gets a lot of great points. I'll be honest with you, though. The other person that I'm really impressed with on this list, and he's only in single digits, you just told me, I think Marco Rubio has done a fabulous job. No question. Yes. He has been unapologetic. When he was at Charlie Kirk's memorial, he talked openly about Christianity and God rising and Jesus rising on the third day. He is unapologetic. He is forceful. And look, I interviewed Marco Rubio. You probably did too, David, back, 2015, 16, when you're still in the primary part of the race originally before Donald Trump got elected in 2016. He is not the same today as he was then. He is so much more polished, on point, powerful is the word that comes to mind for me. So look, J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio together on a ticket, that could be formidable, something to consider anyway, right?
Well, can I just quickly, Terrance, I just quickly play off of that for a second? I think the wild card in all of this could be, and I know this is provocative that I'm going to say it, but everybody assumes that Trump's going to endorse J.D. Vance. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he actually endorses Rubio. And that would throw MAGA world. I can already see the chat room exploding, like exploding heads potentially, because I get it. But Trump's going to do his thing, right? Have we heard that he kind of marches to the beat of his own drum? I'm telling you, he loves Rubio, and Rubio may split the difference in terms of not completely isolationist, but at the same time, and he's not the neocon that he was, and I feel like it could be kind of a middle ground that Trump is comfortable with.
Yeah, well, look, Marco Rubio has been on the front lines of all of these negotiations that have resulted in wars ending all over the planet, whether it's in Africa or Asia or what's happening in Gaza. Marco Rubio has been front and center and principal to all those really important events. So you're right about Donald Trump being the wild card. He will march to his own drum or to the sound of his own Tommy gun, whatever it is, depending on the day, right? And which is fine. Look, I did a whole monologue this morning on the program here on Real America's Voice because I keep seeing these things pop up on social media. Donald Trump's defunding the education department. Did you vote for that? Yes, I did. Donald Trump is deporting all these illegals. Did you vote for that? Yes, I did. In fact, Donald Trump is delivering on his agenda point by point by point. This is what 77 million Americans voted for. Closing the border, throwing out illegals, bringing peace to the world, getting rid of departments in Washington that are bloated and wasteful and squandering our money. Yeah, I voted for all of that. Did you vote for National Guard troops in the streets? 14 murders in 71 days in Washington, D.C. I've never seen a period of time like none of us have. That would equate to 51 murders annually. We have never seen a 71-day period in D.C. in our lifetimes where there were only, and I say only, 14 murders. It's a remarkable change. Memphis is now seeing it. And by the way, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals yesterday, 3-judge panel says, yeah, Portland, he can bring National Guard there too. So Portland, we'll see you soon. Yes, I voted for this because you cannot make America great unless the cities are great too. It's all part of America. We can't just say, well, Mamdani's going to win in New York. Let's write him off. Absolutely not. We cannot do that. We are one America, and we have to be together on this. My personal belief.
Steve, you make great points, and you definitely laid forth a straight A report card for President Trump. But if there were a blemish, I would challenge you that it would be the government shutdown. And it's really not even a challenge. I'm curious to get your perspective on whether the longer this government shutdown lasts, the more it ultimately does get put in the lap of President Trump and Republicans, no matter whether it is Schumer shutdown or not, and how that potentially could overshadow all of the good that President Trump has achieved.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, Terrance, politely.
Okay.
I don't think the government shutdown is on the Republicans. I don't. I mean, I look at the polling from various places, left and right. Those on the left say, oh, the Republicans are paying the price for this. Not from the people I talk to. The government shutdown is part and parcel to the Democrats who did not win the election, who did not win the House, who did not win the Senate, who did not win the White House, making demands as the minority party to do things our way. We demand you do these things. No. Not what we voted for. 77 million Americans, all 7 swing states, the popular vote all went into a single column, the red column. And therefore, the Democrats don't have the ability to sit there. They can pound their fists, they can stomp their feet. But the fact of the matter is, the Republicans would work with them on health care and extending subsidies to those that need it because Obamacare is such a blatant failure. But Republicans will come help bail it out and help American families that are in trouble, but not at the demands of Chuck Schumer, who's fighting for his political life only. Now, I don't give Donald Trump a perfect report card. I'm going to give you 2 things that I don't like. I'm going to light up the chatterbox. Watch this. I don't like the fact that PFAS, forever chemicals, they've scaled back the requirements and restrictions on PFAS, forever chemicals. I think that's dangerous. I don't like that at all. PFAS is not a good thing. These forever chemicals are dangerous to you and I think monitoring and keeping a close eye on them is very important. The second thing that drives me bananas, I'm just going to say, I've never said this before, I'm going to say it. When I'm driving down the road, I'm listening to satellite radio, and someone comes on, and all of a sudden, here comes an advertisement. Hello, everybody, it's your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, and here's my Trump watch. Would you stop doing that?
Yes.
You are the president of the United States. Selling watches, I think, I think it's just beneath the office. I do. And I could, have some quibbles with a couple of his memes and this and that, but that's who he is. He trolls people. I don't really care about that. I think it's cute that Speaker of the House, Mark Johnson, yesterday said, look, it's satire. Deal with it. I'm okay with it. But the selling of these Trump watches and other Trump, merch, I don't like that. I don't care for it. That's me. And I'll probably light up the chat room, but that's me.
Well, it makes sense.
Fair enough. I trust it.
I agree. While we're on that topic, I do have concerns. Well, let me phrase it this way to you. Let me ask you a question. I'll phrase it in a question. Have you been concerned at all about some of what President Trump has done from a non-isolationist point of view? And to be clear, I shouldn't use the word isolationist. I probably should say non-interventionist point of view. I mean, in other words, he seems like he's a little bit more robust, if you will, in terms of kind of getting involved in some of these affairs than we really need to be, like the globalization force in Gaza, phase 3 of the plan, the global peace board and, boots on the ground already 200 or so in Israel. I mean, and that's just there. I mean, there's other places. It just seems like I'm not sure that was necessarily MAGA feeling that so much. What do you think about that? Does that concern you at all? I know it's part of the art of the deal. I get all that.
Well, what concerns me is this.
I don't know.
It's the ongoing failure of the United Nations. If the United Nations was capable in any way of fulfilling its mission of stopping wars, of ending genocide, of ending famine, we wouldn't have this problem. But the fact is, the United Nations, year after year, decade after decade, is an abject failure, and we foot the bill. So sometimes, apparently, we have to step up. 200 troops, am I a big fan? No, but I understand the need for it, okay? More importantly than that is defending this hemisphere. We need to make sure that China isn't taking up deeper roots in Venezuela. We have to make sure that China doesn't start building fighter jets in Argentina. These things are important. And cutting off Colombia, I fully agree with. If you can't get your drug runners taken care of, we're going to stop sending you money. I like that. And yes, I voted for that. And by the way, I'm also tired of seeing the posts on social media. Oh, they're blowing up fishermen. I don't know who's been around boats a lot. You guys in Florida would understand this. I don't see a lot of fishing boats with 4 outboards matched across the back that are 400 horsepower apiece with 1,600 horsepower racing across the ocean open like that boat there that isn't there anymore.
Hey,
Those are
Steve.
not fishing boats.
Yeah, Steve, while you're on this topic, let's play that soundbite, guys, of Rand Paul basically disagreeing with Trump on doing what he's doing there in that video. Let's take a look at Rand Paul.
No, they go against all of our tradition. You know, when you kill someone, you should know if you're not at war, not in a declared war, you really need to know someone's name, at least. You have to accuse them of something. You have to present evidence. So all of these people have been blown up without us knowing their name, without any evidence of a crime. And for decades, if not centuries, when you stop people at sea in international waters or in your own waters, you announce that you're going to board the ship and you're looking for contraband, smuggling, or drugs.
Uh-oh, Steve. Go for it.
Did Thomas Jefferson get the names of the Barbary pirates before we sank their ships in the Mediterranean? No. Right. In fact, we went out, the Barbary pirates came along and said, we're going to pirate your ships because we can, because we're Muslim, and we're going to do that. But if you pay us a tax, we'll leave the American ships alone. And Thomas Jefferson went back and he said, let me think about this. No. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to kill you, all of you. I don't think they took names on the shores of Tripoli, all right? When you're at war, you're at war. And 100,000 Americans dying every year in this country from poison being imported from Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia. Pick your poison and pick your country. That is an act of war. And you can look at it however you want. I don't have a problem with this. I don't think most Americans have a problem with this. When they see, look, I've got a close friend of mine whose 19-year-old son died from fentanyl poisoning last year. Just a college kid doing what we all did in college, experimenting, playing around, made a mistake, a lethal mistake. So I think that what's happening to have a war on, if you're going to have a war on drugs, by God, have a war on drugs. Not in name, but in practice. That's my take on it.
Steve Gruber, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You the best.
Thanks,
Guys, thank you.
Coming up, President Trump is backing a primary challenge against Republican Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie. Trump is supporting an opponent who hasn't officially declared yet, but why? Find out. We'll bring you those details when American Sunrise returns.